Amorata, and then from there this evening we'll head on to Teso. We started with Otuke district, and we thank the people who met with us in Otuke Town Council, and then also at Adwar. And then the same day we were in Leptong district. We thank the people who met with us in Aloy, in Leptong Town Center, and in Omogu. Amogu. Yes. Yes. And we also went to Rira the day after. We thank the people who met with us in Aroma, in Agweng, and in Ogur. And also same day we visited Kwanya. We thank the people whom we met with in Aduku and Enomo. And then yesterday we were in Apache. We thank the people who met with us in Ibuje, in Teboke, in Apache Town Center, and the fishing site of Aye. We use a different method. We try the best we can to reach out in the rural areas. We meet with people. We first try to find out what the issues they are faced with. And then we propose what we think is the best solution out of that. So we tell them about our manifesto. And then, of course, we ask for a vote.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. General, we are all aware that this is your second time to run for president.
Yeah.
What is your package for the people of Lango and Uganda in particular?
First time, our message was not yet understood well. And in a sense, I got a sense that we were planting seeds. I am glad that I see that the seeds have germinated and we are heading towards the harvest from what I sense. I get a sense that people are getting to understand that politics is about issues, it's not about excitement. And this nature of our engagements, we don't put resources to mobilize huge crowds of people. Huge crowds of people, you can whip them up emotionally, and they could also give you support. But in as far as I'm concerned, politics is an issue of life or death. It's about issues. Because if politics goes off track, a country can really get into problems. So you need to engage with the citizens first as a way of understanding what their needs are, and also a way of them understanding what solutions you are proposing. Because we also give time first to hear them, then toward the end, we give them opportunity to ask questions. Then we respond. In that sense, we think we make fruitful engagements. And also to build a base, because we're also building a party at the same time. Okay. And we want to build a party which is long-lasting, which will outlive us. Because the challenge we have in Africa, it's not only in Uganda, prominent people or leaders, they can run parties, and when they leave this planet, parties tend to disappear. We want to build an institution. The only way you can build this is when you engage with people and those who fully understand the principles, the values of an organization, to join it at the grassroots level, build it up to national, build it into an institution that's not attached to an individual. So those of you who started when you leave, the party keeps on. We see this happening in Europe. We see it happening in America and other developed countries, where parties have been there for hundreds of years. We just have to do the same thing. Because parties are the center of governance. And to fix a country, the party itself must be fixed. Because the party can only give what it has. The nature, the thinking, the ideology of those who are in the party is what will guide them when they are running a country. So if you find in a party there are people who are, for example, if there is a culture of corruption or manipulation or deception, a party like that, once it's in power, that's what they will do. So I always get surprised when people ask what is happening now. What we see happening in our public life is exactly what NRM has. It is what is giving to us. So any other party, whichever gets into power, must have in itself what it is going to give the country. So people need to participate in political organizations. Nobody will fix this country unless we fix the parties. Yes.
Okay.
Bob, if I don't have 1,000 shillings, I can't give it to you.
Yeah.
If you don't have 1,000 shillings, you can't give it to her. You must first have what to give to another person. Same thing with parties. Yes, we must build what we want to see happening in the country. If we want zero tolerance to corruption, as many people are crying of corruption, if we want to see democratic practice in the country. It must first be in the party. How will it give it if it doesn't have it? Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, based on that, what is your vision for Uganda's economic development, and how do you plan to achieve it?
One, our economic development model is based on the individual in the family. That's the smallest unit of social economic organization. And we also think that the development of a country should not be measured by the roads or the power lines. Because you can have a country where they have 3-lane dual carriageways. We have seen countries like that. But then you go and look at the lives of individuals, the majority of them live in poverty. So for us, we think that to develop a country, you must focus on people. Start with that family. Because once a family is developed in a parish, if, for example, you have a development of 80 plus in a parish, and parishes are all developed, then a sub-county will be developed. And then when all sub-counties in a district are developed, the district will be developed. And if all districts in a country are developed, then the country will be developed. Then you must have roads which are tarmacked, or those which are not tarmacked, which are maintained fully. You have to have power lines, which, of course, those who are in industry will need to use. Clean water. All those are to support the development process where the individual in the family is at the center. And that's why I want to focus on education. Education is a form of wealth. Even countries which have nothing, like even one mineral, like Japan, I use it often as an example. Its wealth came from education. Education is the utmost form of wealth for any country, even if you don't have anything else. Now you can imagine a country like Uganda, which is well endowed in terms of fertile soils, in terms of mineral resources. Now imagine if we were investing in education as well, education of high standards, and there's a combination of both. The sky would be the limit. So we have to focus on education, high standard education, and which is not dual as the one we have now, because people who are in government schools have low levels of education. Those who are in private schools are the ones who, but you have to have money. So we have two parallel channels of education, which is going to be a danger down the road. Because the ones who can afford to pay for their children go to private schools. And when they finish universities, then these kids who go through UPE, USE, the foundation is very weak. When they finish, at the end, when they're looking for a job, I can tell you those who go through private schools are better positioned to get jobs than the others. You can't create a country like that, because it is going to cause disparities. And down the road, it can be dangerous for the country. So we have to ensure that there is high-quality education in government schools. And when you do that, I can tell you many people no longer go to private schools. I've seen when we were studying ourselves, people who had high grades were going to government schools. The ones who had failed are the ones who are going to private schools. Now it is the reverse.
Okay, Bwana President, let's get down for a
and
short
then
break.
Go to health
We
and
return.
then agriculture.
Oh, okay. Bwana President, let's get down for a short break. You have just opened your radio. You are tuned to 97.7 UTFM, and the program is Odiko Alyet. In the studio, I have Kim Moses Wegulu, EUNICE Tohe, and Party President of Alliance for National Transformation, General Mugisga Muntu, who is also known as General Gregorio Mugisga Muntu Muntayera. Is that okay? Is that yeah?
Muntu
Thank you so much.
Is my father's name.
Oh,
but I normally split it Muntu or Yera.
so that is why you are commonly referred as Mugisga Muntu.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's get down for a short break. We return.
Chawa dek me diko. Ichawa nido itikere guvumenti mujama pol kere momo. Di sta chela bishela beach ash. Unyo itikere up me momo. Mewe kiti mochol kwa yuchene. Investing kere jamu kena dong polata. This hour on the Great Morning Show is brought to you by
Odiko Alyet. Confidence matters in insurance.
That's why Sanlam and Allianz, two leaders in the industry, have joined forces to create Africa's largest insurance provider with presence in 26 African countries and 240 years of combined experience, serving you even better.
Because we believe that together, confidence doubles. Sanlam and Allianz are now Sanlam Allianz. Ensure your home, business, and life with us. Sanlam Allianz. Live with confidence. Regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda.
Nyaho, nyo kituma entuho. Tiki yubma choba, dok tiki miri.
Wow!
Jale nyanga, nyaho tiki lagudu timugo.
Surprise!
Jale ye, daha nyaha keroni, enu. Tino nyaho pono wubima enmero.
Pian kila nyaho tiki ya wubima enmero. Yat Lydia Fine Daily Contraceptive Pills. Ere ye yat mageo ino ya juyot. Manyaho mero gen. Ikuone mirwate kila cho ima. Kachil ki yubma mege. Penkong dakta maputpia chao tiki yat eni. Kwena niki kelobotu kun aki DKT International.
Ha, nyaho tiki taje manen maleng mada. Nyaho tiki doge manen mamuya mabe. Nyaho mereti maleng mupongolo. Ha, nyaho mereti miri mapol.
Bien nyaho tiki miri unyoja mima choba. Yat mili diapos pills. Mi intak twin ni petwer no yajo. Ma yin pe mero. Me wek yato ti mabe. Umyere mwonyi kire chapa rio mukwa. Mapuri ruatarwara kila cho. Ento, pe wako chap yar beru ya rio. Li diapos pills. Wende pete. Dog nonge oriat. Unyo pharmacy. Mo keken machok kiri. Bet kano tam kibot dakta. Mafut piya chao tikiyat eni. Kwena ni kikelobotu kun aki DKT International.
In case of an accident, are you waiting to say,
One to better. See my bump. See my bump. Afan. Aha. Gamano.
or this?
Shut. Accidents. These are small things. You know it. I am properly insured. To fire you.
Safeguard your ride and your life with Protector Body. For just 1.5% of your car's value annually, get peace of mind with Protector Body. It covers damages to your car and medical expenses for the driver in case of an accident. Simply dial *252*10# to get started. Protector Body is underwritten by Liberty General Insurance Uganda, powered by Stanbic Bank Assurance Agency and Safe Border, and regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority Sandbox Guidelines. Terms and conditions apply.
Tamex do nywaga chill in Darkundo Twitter metukeluwie meka kutuide nywagini pidwira dekiwire kire Tamex miere de megwa kuchinda kuni balme pango jomiru tiporni yika chete keme Tamex grote kirme do yo por nywagi chakara ka chill workri yario kanu lubu kupunyo ruama do ipoti kakido putino aputi porre deke keni do globo yukire milita mie chill jerkan pi milita superior achoka lundong ti porra ngwentu kire bisel kanu itiukede milita mie chill pira binono Metamex jerkan pilita superior kada mi to do muony unyo kofia do tekuko unyo tikre yuba me kuporro me pito en muony tikede read out menne kupune do dut kin meni na partiken read out wow do dut na gelwire kun geo do morke kana metemo tunyo duoge porti Tamex me do nywagi kede read out ame kunyime yubo porro ni me pito kori nung Tamex unyo read out e doga chatu jami puro ke kana chike kira genne go chime me bechamo chinde binongo inama note ariono note abongwe no note abisela bisel note poime lwenyi komjo kiri yin magi tefika pinja kadaka ikiri mini na biro
Itiame go heriyo kiri ya in committee ngwech kumata kitu eno chenye ikeru insurance kumtohani unyoche inda iti insure kadampe wano tie kan piri beda me go hero ko ikom ngwech orki kena me iti ngwech kiro toha kai go hoda kuoni karechel kede Protector Bode pipasena chelle tonera bitkiken me welo tohani ibet kom do ame wiukwe kunikeru insurance ko karechel kede Protector Bode man konyi kom bala metimer kumtohani kuntulo bill meda hatal ikom reta menu binikom driver dusu man teke nuwa wano mediyo Woodkedo itedi star ya bishario, star chel not ash, mechako. Protector Bode, yaibod Liberty General Insurance Uganda. Kunjo atia meyogichwak, ubedo Stanbic Bank Assurance Agency, Safe Border, kunjo ametia na notichara bear, ubedo Insurance Regulatory Authority, Sandbox Guidelines.
My life is sorted with the wiki to go TV Monday to Sunday. Madam is happy, but to
General Referral Hospital. Kutiro yobogora did me chiel man baraza. Kura me baraza manu tiama lungi yote dera duse me binu bedi. Weho binu lele otami kom kira ngong. Amoro yobogara chikere nungo kony me yot kom. Nida hadala duong me liram. Kure mana pia textual walking. Natimene kwenye paru ya ngwen. Bendu ma paru ya chili muhamanene. Ida hadala duong ikokome kunacha. Obinu na lele otami kom konye mo kabacha pola papa. Tame amani chane da hadala duong tiama mi yoboto tadera. Da hadala duong tie pirwa wandu sum domir wanu binu ineno man. Eka otabiru miamu nutam kunu leo yori karachiel. Weko niangu na ber. Ikon kire moromu nungkiri kwenye yot kom. Ili radu General Referral Hospital. Igureni. Nunu yeda uticho bam. Nutela mete kwaro. Omitama bashi motigiri ya kine pashu. Medo kire luang. Itiedo ready memi yudekido wodo ilevo la malo. Pindo e gamka roiko mchuzi. Ameo yobokede wit chema doi pasu kono. Temi yudeki beda kur amit. Adang pigete beda pek tutual. Kodai winkong. En roiko mchuzi. Iromute dukede kitkuri daikoro kiken. Bediti tedo riu. Bueno. Abolo. Rech. Akarina aranga. Kede dadohi. Irono ngudai doha. Nyu supermarket oro kiken na chegi kedi. Pere bedu kida bar wiche bedu yenyo. Kode win welgi kita yot kede. Pien ginti utia udokopi yuko. Bediti teda kadi fi hotel. Inu ngwena te grams abori. Wele chilling mia rioki ken. Grams pierbichi wele chilling turmia chel kiken. Grams mia rio wele chilling turmia bishel kiken. Grams mia bichi wele chilling turmia par yo kiken. Unyuena ti kilograms ario wele chilling turmia pia dekwi abor kiken. Itikar do ikorngo. Wodong tineni eke ite gamo roiko mchuzi. Pien ena yo beru dong boss me flavor ikokome.
Listen to 97.7 Unity FM. We inform, educate and entertain.
Unity FM is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Oya teka winyi radio menu port pe wore weo achigu chime chatwil achimwa chelpi bedo president amonete ant nutiama kubujama pigi tek poini mono Kim Moses wegulu binu mi wangi yore the summer mengo ayana bedo kobilebla pientij mi ram wadu hi kan Kim binu mi wangi yore mi neno Kim tiole ngiti taking note mengo ame achimwa chelpi bedo president onutiama kobo. Thank you so much. Welcome back from that short break. Before we switch to commercial break, you were talking about education and health services. And now my question would be, what are your plans for improving access to quality education and health care? Yes, that is what you were talking about. Thank you so much.
To develop a country, you focus on the citizen in a family, as I've already indicated. For you to have a productive citizen, you must focus on 3 areas. 1, education, high levels of education, and training in skills. You cannot have high levels of education unless you motivate teachers, which means you must pay them well. And then you have to focus on the health of that citizen. And then food security. So the beginning point of a development process, a meaningful one. The individual, the citizen, must be well educated and trained, must be healthy, and must be eating well. Internationally, they normally measure levels of development on whether a person is able to eat more than 1 meal a day. In our instances, mostly in the town settings, the majority of the people are not able to eat more than 1 meal a day. Not because it is by choice, but because they simply don't have the means. So, in our case, we believe that the moment you focus on those 3 areas, because those are the basics, and of course shelter is also an important aspect for a human being to live a decent life. So the rest of the programs are built around that. If you are building roads, if you are generating and distributing, transmitting and distributing power or energy, it is for lighting to ensure that that person is able to carry on with his life, but also for the production processes in industry. And then water, provision of clean drinking water, because clean drinking water is not only for our satisfaction in terms of having a healthy body, but also you reduce on the medical bills, because many people suffer from waterborne diseases. A significant portion of the diseases that people suffer from is because they don't have access to clean drinking water. So you also ensure that there is clean drinking water. And then around the food area, there are two aspects why we are going to heavily invest in agriculture. One, for food, but also for incomes, like the cash crops. Because our approach, again, is that to develop a country, you develop people. And therefore, you must invest in areas where the people themselves are investing their energies. And the majority of our people in agriculture, crop as well as animal husbandry. About 70% of the population is engaged in agriculture. So we have to invest into that. How do you invest into that? Ensure that there is cheap credit. Farmers cannot survive on money from SACCOs or from commercial banks. So there must be low interest rate loans and long-term repayment periods for them to be able to use mechanized means in agriculture. You either use plows or tractors. The problem we have in this country, many of the places where people still have land, and largely in the north, they still have that advantage. It's a very, very short window. I get a sense that in another 25, 30 years, the people in the north will no longer have the land that they do have now. A family holding in majority of the place has 15, 20 acres. But when they use a hoe, they can only open up about 3 acres. But when they use either ox plows or tractors, they can put all the 20 acres under crop. But of course that requires resources, money. Because if you're going to put 20 acres under crop, if you're using a tractor, you're talking about 2 million. And then there's money for seeds, there's money for pesticides. Now they need to have where they can get that money. That's why we want to ensure that there is a re-establishment of the cooperative bank, and also to have agricultural credit facilities, which are expanded in terms of volumes to reach everybody who is in agriculture who wants to borrow. And of course, they don't have most of the banks, like in commercial banks, you cannot go there and get money unless you have what to mortgage. Rural peasants don't have even titles, so that's why the cooperatives bank are very, very critical. Organize them around cooperatives so they can go and get money for opening their land and buying seed and the pesticides, and after harvest, and also storage facilities. So after harvest they can pay. The other problem they are faced with, they buy expensive seed. I understand seeds are about 50,000, like for maize. But times when they harvest, the money at which the price at which they buy the crop, is very, very low. I have been places where you find they're paying them around 400, 500 shillings. Because they're individuals. When they're individuals, they're highly vulnerable. When they are formed into cooperatives, the larger the numbers, the more able to negotiate from a position of collective strength. That's the only way you can invest meaningfully in the development of the peasants. Of course, those in animal husbandry also have to do that. And then you also provide finances for those who are going to go into agro-processing. Because when you have people who are going to agro-processing, you create market for those who are growing the crops, for those who have dairy products. And then you go into health, which I've already talked about. The population is healthy. Right now, most of the people really are highly vulnerable. They cannot afford the private hospitals. The government hospitals don't have drugs. And many people just go home simply to die, not because their ailments cannot be treated, but because they don't have money to pay. And then, of course, on the side of agriculture, the ones who are in crops for sale, those who are in cotton, or those who are in coffee, those who are in cocoa, and all that. But then they must also be organized in such a way that during growing, during processing, post-harvest, that the crops they grow have got the standards, the international level standards. We have a problem, many of our products are being banned elsewhere where there have been exports. Tea price is fair on the Mombasa market. Those who are in tea are in a big problem. Some of them have been almost uprooting the tea crops. Maize has had a problem in the past because of aflatoxins and things like that. So there must be government involvement at every stage to ensure that it develops the farmers, because when they are developed, the country develops.
Okay.
There is no other way out of that. That's why there needs to be discipline of the leaders at the top and focus. Focus in the sense that they care for people, that they care for the country.
Okay.
This regime simply, by the things that we have seen, when you find lack of drugs in hospitals, when you find that farmers are left literally on their own, exposed, or vagaries of nature exposed, or nature of people who want to exploit them in terms of low prices for their crops, it basically shows you that this government has completely relegated its responsibility to fed. People are there on their own. Whether people know it or not, I don't know. When we talk to them, they seem to know. Whether they are going to take a firm stand as we ask them to retire General Museveni so there can be a new team to put this country back on track, we don't know. We'll wait and see how they react. My hope really, everywhere we've been, people are really fed up. But when they translate that into action, we wait to see.
Now, Bwana presidential candidate, how will you balance the needs of different regions and community in your decision making?
If you want a stable country, there must be justice. And justice must not only be in terms of, someone has got a case in court and they hear the case and there's no bribery, there's nothing. Justice is about equality before the law. Justice is about equal opportunities. That's the only way you can build a country, because you have to develop all areas. Each area has got its own unique characteristics. Like here in the north, it is fertile. Even the south is fertile. But in the fertile, there's pressure on land. In Ankole, Chigezi, Toro, Buganda, Busoga, most of the land holdings per family are about 1 acre, 1 acre and a half, 2 acres. So mechanizing agriculture there is a little bit complex. Here in the north, Acholi land, Lango, and Teso, you have advantages. And I keep telling people, the leaders this side have got to ensure that they use this window of opportunity. I think it's about 20 years to 30 years when you still have that land. Because the more children are born, the more divisions of land to portion to different young people who are getting families. So there's going to be a time, maybe 20 years, 30 years down the road, when you find that even this side, people will be sitting on a land holding of maybe 1 acre, 1 acre and a half, 2 acres. Most times they are not that productive, really. But when they still have 15, 20 acres, they can, and with government support, they can mechanize, they can engage in already what I've been talking about, how to lift the farmers out of their poverty. And then they build a capital base. They go into other things before the land holding becomes small, so that by the time it becomes small, someone has already invested in other things that sustainably can feed them or give them money for their own needs. If we get to that point before there is any disciplined government which recognizes these issues, we are going to be, actually even now we're already sitting on a time bomb. Because we've gone to areas where, the youth are minimal now, 70% under 35. They are jobless. So that translates into a source of insecurity. We have heard many people complaining, which is understandable. Because if someone doesn't have a job, maybe they are no longer even on the land, they are in a small trading center or a town, they have nothing to feed on, they are going to resort to crime. So basically we are sitting on a time bomb. Unless we diffuse it by having people who are responsible in managing the affairs of the country. That's the only way out of this mess. These 3 regions, my hope is that the leaders recognize this, work day and night to ensure that before the land holdings become smaller and smaller, which will happen because even in the south they used to have large pieces of land in the past, but they've kept on subdividing as the population grows. The same experience is going to happen here. So people need to work day and night to ensure that they are responsible leaders, they are disciplined leaders, they are focused leaders who focus on the developing country. Because in any case, when people develop and the country develops, there are more opportunities. People will get money through different avenues. The more development there is, the more there is expansion of service industries. Those who are in transportation will go in transportation. Those who are in trade will be in trade. Those who are in hotels, they go in hotels. All nature of opportunities open up once a country steadily develops. The issue is disciplined leadership. My hope is that the population gets to understand this. Nothing good is going to happen by accident. Everything that is going to be good as we go into the future must be purposed, must be conscious, must be through leaders who are focused. The nature of leaders we have now, unfortunately, but that's the sad fact. out of 10 people who are in politics now, 7 are in it as a business. They are going there for their own self-advancement. Does that mean that there aren't Ugandans who are focused, who care for people, who care for the country? They are there, but most of them have pulled out of politics because they go out there and they ask for money. And someone who has made his own money in a clean way will ask himself, why should I give people money? It's a dilemma. It's a dilemma.
General, what strategies will you implement to address climate change and its impact on agriculture?
Raising of consciousness mostly. Again, government has got to ensure that it funds the agencies which go and conscientize people. First, to know that when they are protecting the environment, they are protecting their future, they are protecting the future of their children and grandchildren, they are protecting the future of the country. Also create alternatives. Because like when you tell people to get out of swamps, there must be alternatives, because most of them are surviving on swamps. Also teaching them so that even when they engage in swamps, they engage in only in activities which don't do any damage, but which can consistently operate without any negative impact on the what? On the climate. And then, of course, the planting of forests, ensuring that people don't dig near rivers or near lakes, ensure that there is no effluent from industries. I mean, like Lake Victoria. If we are not careful, that lake will at some point become dead. Because, you see, swamps have been interfered with. Some of them they are built into those swamps. You find that effluent from most of these industries goes into those swamps and goes into Lake Victoria. So you'll find that metals are moving in there and all nature of fertilizer from agricultural areas which go into the waters. And once you get these fertilizers going there, then there will be growth of algae and things like that in the waters.
Yes.
So it is... when you have people who are not caring about themselves, there are many things they don't look at. And of course, going to such programs to protect the environment requires money. But see, the money which we have as a country, there's competition in the sense that most of the people want to eat that money. They steal the money. We are losing $2 billion United States dollars every year. So if people can steal money for drugs where they know people are going to die, what about the environment where they don't see the immediate impact? Because the negative impact of environment takes a long time. People don't unless they are conscious about it. So anybody who steals money that is going to cause the lack of drugs in hospitals and people die, definitely will not care about the environment.
Thank you so much, Bwana. Just a moment. Kim, let me get down for a short break. You come and take over from there. Thank you so much, Bwana Presidential Candidate. Let me treat to a small break. We get back and then start from where we stop. Thank you so much for those who are listening to Odiko Alyet, Unity FM, Madam Kede Radio, Young Edu Chini Weo, Abinu Jollo, Kim Moses Wegulo Mechake Kano, Apoyo.
Ingewa apira teka lodo ikobikom insurance. Ubero tek chun. Ento ka itam kong. Ka tek chun yene. Udohere komari otwal. Sanlam Kede Alliance. Utiu river gini doko. Mebedo Sanlam Alliance. Mando dula me miujo insurance. Adung dita loa Africa. Karachel. Intia kili unget. Metich. Ameuria karumu kimia rio pira mwenoko. Adangu tie gini loba rong pia rio wia bishel twal. Kungindo tie kane guoki. Mi insurance ameu dohere. Mante bedo tek chunya meu dohere. Bedniti mitu insurance ikuoni, fashoni, unyui biacharani, timdunka insurance kede Sanlam Alliance. Itekwa yukwame chunyi tek tutwal. Joametia nanotute Sanlam Alliance, ubedu Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda.
Itiedo ready memi yudekido wodo level amalo pindo e gamka roiko mchuzi ameo yobokede witchema doi pasukono temi yudeki beda kur amit adang pigete beda pek tutwal kodai winkong en roiko mchuzi iromute dukede kitkuri daikoro kiken bediti tedo riu bueno abolo rech akarina haranga kede dadohi irono ngudai doha nyu supermarket oro kiken na chegi kedi pere bedu kida bar wiche bedu yenyo kode win welgi kita yot kede pien ginti utio udokopio ko bediti teda kade pi hotel inu ngwena te grams abori wele chilling mi ariyo kiken grams pierbich iwele chiling turmia chel kiken, grams mia rio iwele chiling turmia bichel kiken, grams mia bich iwele chiling turmia par yo kiken, unyuena ti kilograms ario iwele chiling turmia piedek ya bor kiken. Itikar do ikorngo, wodong tineni, eke ite gamo Royco mchuzi, pien, ena ya obedo dong boss me flavor ikukome.
Fab, let's talk flavor on the stream. Yes, you heard right. Royco Cubes Stream is here to make your cooking easier and tastier. Same delicious Royco Cubes, now in single sachets. Just pull, tear, and crumble one cube at a time. Perfect flavor, zero waste, and an iron boost to keep your family healthy. It's time to hang flavor in your kitchen. Get Royco Cubes Stream at a duka near you and make every meal a flavorful moment. Royco Cubes Stream, convenient flavor every time.
Yes, General, my name is Kim Moses Wegulu, and I picked interest in where we talked about stealing public funds, and so it's becoming a song everywhere in the world, I would say. Is there any best alternative that you in particular and Alliance for National Transformation, is there any better way that you people have formalized to see that we fight corruption out of this country?
There are two levels of corruption. Grand corruption, where money is stored in billions, where, contracts for roads, contracts for big water projects, contracts for development projects. That's high-level corruption. Then there's a small-level corruption, where people are taking 100,000 shillings here, 50,000 shillings there, maybe traffic police, and maybe someone is going to move a file from one office to another, they're asking for 100,000, 200,000, this, that. The only way you tackle corruption, you start from the top. First, the leader must be incorruptible himself or herself. Two, if it's the nature of a leader who brings people who are like him or her, people who are honest, people who have integrity, then they form a team at the cabinet level. Then ensure that the permanent secretaries, the undersecretaries, the commissioners are people who are honest, but also reinforce IGG department and criminal investigation department. They train the best that the country has. They equip them in terms of investigative capabilities, in terms of forensic laboratories, and in terms of new technologies. And then you have zero tolerance. You draw a line, and every senior leader knows that you cross that line, you end up in prison. And the moment you arrest 1, 2, 3, the 4th, 5th, 6th will fear. So you streamline. People fear the top.
But
once people fear,
this has always been done by NRM government, and we don't see any
They
change.
speak, they don't act.
We see people in prison.
No. You see, that's the small fry.
Okay.
You never see the top people.
Okay.
Because once you start at the cabinet level to ensure that everybody follows the law, anybody crosses, you throw them in, PSCs. I can tell you, the lower people will go into line. There's no way you can have an honest minister, an honest permanent secretary, an honest undersecretary, an honest commissioner, and then you tell me that the cow that can be corrupt is just simply not possible. Yeah, you start from the top. If you don't start from the top, you've lost the battle.
All right.
General, how do you plan to rebuild and strengthen states' institutions, especially judiciary, to serve, not to be serving the interest of the ruling party?
You start with, once politicians are straight, once they are incorruptible, the rest of the institutions will be streamlined. Because you tackle corruption in the judiciary, you have to tackle corruption in parliament. Once you have a parliament civil service that is also backed up. Because when people on the lower side have a sense that the top is not backing them up, they will not fight. But when they know the president is straight, the cabinet members are straight, then the lower cadres, and there are many Ugandans who really don't want to see corruption flourish, they will fight once they know that the president and the cabinet has their back. But now everybody is on the gravy train because they see corruption at the top. So someone on the lower side asks himself, should I be the one to suffer for the country when everybody else has got their hand in the till, stealing? fighting corruption effectively has to start from the top.
All right.
If you don't start from the top, you cannot fight corruption.
Thank you so much, Bwana Presidential Candidate. You talked about the young people sitting on a time bomb. Now, my question is, what initiative will you undertake to promote youth development and their empowerment, looking at the percentage of the young people in this country? Thank you.
Focusing on education and training, and also putting their funds in place. There are many young people who have got creative ideas, who are innovative at the same time. The only unfortunate thing is that the sources of funds, because those young people, you can look at the global brands like Google, like Microsoft, like all these global brands, Facebook, because they are venture capitalists in Europe or in America, where a young person has an idea, and then there are venture capitalists who have their own money. They listen to different ideas. They invest. They can invest in 5, and when 3 succeed, or even 2, they cover for what they have lost in those who didn't succeed. We don't have people who have that kind of money. It has to be a government which ensures that it steps in the gap for venture capital. Create a team of people who are knowledgeable, scientists, economists, and they listen to ideas of the young people. They find out ideas which could work, and then put in the seed money for them to start developing those ideas. If they are 10 and 4 succeed, you can get multi-billion-dollar, revenues from an idea. I mean, in the current world where computers are the avenue through which many things can be done, even when you are in a rural area, as long as you can access the internet, you can develop an idea at a national level and it goes global.
Okay.
But there has to be government support. Without government support, you can't go far. But of course, investing in education so that the young people are well educated, you create an environment also how they can go into businesses. But also by expanding those who are already in businesses, in agriculture, in agro-processing, in manufacturing, the more you put in money into those areas, the more someone who was employing 10 people now grows and can employ 20. The one who was employing 20 can now expand, employ 50. The one who was employing 50 expands and employs 100. Then you create jobs for the youth.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. President, we also know that NRM has such initiatives.
Yes.
And under Ministry of ICT, innovations, and
yes.
What do you think is a gap that you think you are coming to address so that that money for venture capital
yes.
is realized through the output is seen by the people?
First, there must be discipline. Is it the biggest challenge we have? The ideas are there. Anybody can adopt good ideas. But translating ideas into reality is where there's a problem. Because the people who are in governance, I know I have bumped into people who send, for example, their proposals in ministries, and then they can make them work until they give up. And then once they have given up, they find that the idea which they sent in, someone else is using it.
Elsewhere.
Either someone has sold it or is trying to implement it himself. That's why there's a problem. So if you don't have discipline, nothing can work. I mean, if this regime really had disciplined people, if this regime had people who are not corrupt, many things would work. So basically what we're offering ourselves, and that's what whoever is going to change this country has to offer. Discipline and integrity in governance. If you don't have that, nobody's going to turn around this situation.
Thank you so much. Before we get comments, questions outside there, let me task Kim to give us a summary of your manifestos before we get to you on 0772983477. Ameput program of comment kida penye metibori kana we hami Kim kare wuke ana ko bere mi teacher tedi me Kim mi yo kare bod jo wa menu karo kene nu petie awoti wukino niang me following ngwa me presidential candidate monitor party me Alliance for National Transformation with Okobiye kan Kim a summary of 1 or 2 3 minutes before we get online tawni bino mi wakare me gammo koppi boru kanu achiel kapo de yabo de yaba nyabe bobu yu jokti ye kan kede mego EUNICE atohe ke Moses Wegulum kede one of the presidential candidates of Alliance for National Transformation, General Mugisga Muntu, commonly referred to as Mugisga Muntu. Okay, Muntu Yera. Yes.
Muntu Yera ti kan.
Yes, Muntu Yera ti kan.
We radio pa you no take to 12 pair very detailed.
Yes.
And amita akokwanya kai malo kita memite kede adwong ko ni ene bedo de lam kan dok ni na dek bebe adong kakabe no magodong apopol yakina giti ya patch kwania tuke ka ne chalo tinini abedo kole. Is that right? Today you'll be in Kwale, right? Okay. Okoriti ni bedo Kwale ento tijami mogame tamni ko egugudi malu. Polere wakai no koni wibie obero pitu kori. Obero pitu kori. Ento pe obero me kado karame wibie turo joduche beda yigido yom dong jod lela do dano pia tela beda do nyanga e wotemo. Tena na wana ngwa no ko bani wan me pe beda excited utile mo no beda excited. Now, tekoni gino Canada piretek obero me bedo kero tedero te ngeyo pekigi tika kwene ame miyo yini tengo eka itene no kero me miyo agam imalo dai no ko ni we be do pemire bedi kado pean nudong tonen duo dai jwar da to kado pe ora me yabero anana yetelwak ban pe kita me mire we be bed kere ento gneno ko batek te ko ni ka wano mitoni politics wa beda ber ite party wa papata wano ti une ye mir ko ger party beda tek ka party tia tek en party no enina me amijini neno gina bera gina keloho pien peira mo kello gina bera hakuni pekere so ko chake gero party ama chunga tek me kali dong president ne party no pon mede kere ngo konyo lwak so manen ngoy no kobo ni no amenyuri ni unjati ni party ni gero no pata ber we konyo lwak karma nyim. Now teko ni party ametikire timo ga recho dang again timo ineno ko ikom jamba me gino tio me yo ho bolwak neno ko so wan mi repo neno ni o mede no tikere ko de jambe ni amande ya mako ko bikom lim me bobo ko pe ni karamani ko bikom don wa yo re kelo le mi chingwa o timo ningo teko ni gamente mire engin o tio chung gini megi gitio chung meneno kire me gero wi pacha chela mere beda metikire chiende pacha chela me beda me romo chiem gini ni na che ali ni na chel tiana dek en kita ni chako neno kere ni pacho maro no tingo tia don eka kujati chunjo eka ente ko ni gino kenda no ko beda ko bi kompuonyere o ko ni puonyere wa melo Uganda petia bero twal pien inuni peo tio gero puonye school sagamente tino petia karia ber o tino tia kar kai private schools kiken me mano ber gina rachi kar ma nyim bino miyo ber lobo ber tek pien pola joado ber balo chawa gi ko puonyere me gamente tia miyoni no peramo piem kere ngo kere jo ameti private schools ame chungi wigi kengi me man miyo kade dai na cha me moyo ti jo pola jo me ya schools a government penuoti chen ngongi ngo otopo nungo puonyera gor doko en eneno kere me ger mano ame weko tina metia ya government school ber kere dan kare me piem kere joke ne cha gino kene dai no kobo obedo ko biko match ko ni match wano mir match attack me don eto mir ben match me welere yot ame jora mo timo ngo ame jora mo ramo accessing meti biashara papat chalo ngo jalo me chatu will kede meti kede pashu ngo kene dai no kobo ni kobi kom yot kom ifake no koni puonyere mi dana mi bede mo puonyere kera dang mi bede kede ngech meti mo ginarno amano loni nuetie me tie mano mo puonyere ame nu puonyere do hiti trained nuetie kede ngech meti specific iginarni eka ente ko boni ikobi kom yot ikobi kom pur teko ni mire wan onen ene government mere bino nene ni o duogo cooperative rectiecha me obet kede cooperative bank ame bino supporting nyomi yo kony boto pur meneno ni obedo gini kere chiente ameramo konyogi me tiyo tiji kageno mito minyayo do pur gi dang pur me pedanga pur kai kwero roko nyu adima keken edo jo achako puri tractors me pur por raduong eka itenungo da chienda bob keken endate ko bani peko kena metie gamente me Uganda lako do jalo pur ko e chingjo mogo medo kwalo pur donc kede dang quality me jema wano kelo ho petia ber mi odang chato gi pebere yot do endo rekwayo ni ka wano mito ni onwong chienta bob achalo pur miru bedi groups ka wano ti uni groups o member cooperative bino konyo menungo chuka duong pieno da chemtia duong manungo eka te dong bedo gino bino neno ni quality me jema motia producing tia bera mengo chate eto pe men beno koko como mia pori como nyagi kare moro ni wele no pobera bero twal o mio pori como majan kone majan wa macha do petia wele ichuk ame man no petia ber duogi mere duogi como pur donc gamente mere ne niko de jamino tiamo yuba ber e ka pur tiame tikede ngech dango mio gi jeme me mitte me tiya manono
okay
ente ko boda ginora ma ko bi kom imat gin ame we balunga mat nge bali chuk lunga mego gin openye ni kirango awana amen kere gamente mereka gamo tela romanen no kere me yobo la me ping kere kano rumu wa ente ko ni gino kena metie obedo ni joti kere chuny kulo yora ber pe bet puru yi chuny kulo ko kere tiyo jama me bala chuny kulo alis ti kere laka ni me keto me yobo jami moga me mio pe bala chuny kulo piana mar ke neno factory sa pol ti achwalo jama recho yi chuny kulo ame man no pe ti aber twal bala dongo wa ko eto chuny kulo me ti kere yora ber me wek jon ti kere jama me ti kuna chalo pi ngoge cha me nyayo teach jamano production
and only more alternative me mio jo peti yukere chuny kulo yes
peti kere yora raj poko ni peti kere ero ko ni peti kere yora raj ginno kene ameno ko dang ameda gudu dang yirana do kakan ni ikom jo apara metia bini bibie inunga biriye obino ka memo yene mirgi metelo lwakpe do chane ene tie kokbor tela wa ilao kan kede kano rumo i region wa metung malo ni wano tibuno kede lobo o tibuno kede lobo ber danga miu o tela wa ikan mire chang nenno ni o konyo tedero yore me dongo kede lobo ni ti kede lobo ni yora ber me we kelle me chingjo e chani ame lobo porpo ngweko yeni pien kara roma me lobo jo ngweko ye ko amen mio pengo ginara ber pe yaye de chani wan nu tikere lobo dana tikere 20 acres da tikere new acres apar mi achiel tikere lobo ni yora bera chale family e ka we kelle mi chingjo be we o tebere da kere chiente ame romo mi yo lobo ni dongo keto dongo lo moga paparie man ngoyno kobo o emphasizing man attack ni hotela wa nenu uni konyu no tedero i yore megneno ni o tedero dongo a tela mi renyurio ngoyno kobo eno ni atela mir jurio borote der mere
okay
now atia woti dollo corruption nyoni chamo chana ente ko ni lwenyi kom chamo chana pe achakere iping achakere malo ibot president ka president tigere mirme lwenyi kom chamo chana president achako checking ministers mere a checking gi kaina motimo bala makateri buch ka makaria de ka ngweni buch jo kene pinga chako beda luor enta me mane no kodi petia ti yingone ilo Uganda ena miyo gere jo ducha ko ero koni ko da tiario tiena mo kwalo le madongo me konyo lwakere mo gere me la hachiel tune piera bich ingoge atitino ni so gina gamete mere ti ame gamete mere bino tiyo bere me ko na machiel me jo hotela wore kengi bere me wore keni ncha ni ka ti mere ni amanu chakare malo jo pingi abera luor jo tel wenye kom chamo chana kara chiel chamo chana nang ter wenyo ko ilo Uganda ento mitungo amitu woro beda me ine tikere woro discipline miri jo bedi kere woro inena kiremet benyongo tela wata ber gino Canada ino ko ni miri ger o dul ogo papati lo Uganda melwenya me konye lwenye kom chamo chana ba jiji state house anti corruption nena ni jono beda tek ilwenye kom chamo chana abon paro ni ngade dit nyungade titidi magi keno ko nangi Uganda tiamo launch to 12 jey mo gana kobada ko dangi Uganda tiamo launch to 12 kede minerals kede jemo kede me pe mi wan mo mir bedu no chan mere mi wa bedo no lanyo pien lobo watia miu minerals watie ento kaini poro lobo mago kenne ametio lonya jo lori lobo ka iwi lobo kan o pe gini kede jama wana tie kede ni la Japan gicha pe kede kede jama wana tie kede ni so wan miru kirka te kede ni utikede tela ber ame miongo kede jamini tie atami
before you came thank you so much for that well revised summary of General's Mugisga Muntu's manifesto but tigina chela kamira tota ero po di government ma ora medong bera la odu chu tikira general lel kono ka pe hore chel ka discipline war ko aka ero ko ber kala ka ta na po yu ko gina ka do rem ka ber ngo war because all the ideas is in this country
gina tiene lo
country ni pero idea can
tigina na lo ke kire megero bulu koni population wa Uganda percent chok piera biro ber ponke de bulu ento no ponke de bulu ni lipoti ya tichede yora ber peo miyo giotio puanyera ber po miyo tichie ame mand ginu kelo peho ikom lobo Uganda en gina matiedi ket chiente moro kanoro ame ngato tikede rieho mere ngo ba tikede miyo ngech tikede proposal ero cho wotim ngo wot kwanchene cha tikede gamete mi support mena nena dana ni ocho bere eto gino kene no koba achalo bere keden kobi kom indiscipline ameti Uganda ni ukoni yini cho tammi mora bero lil ite twalo bod government enti pinu ni tammi cha bo mi yina ye timo
ngatora
me pe war da pe ngeo gina yini ti nena ni o kwanyo ko nyoti tichere do ngapire onyomi watere more na ngo ti tichere amano guda to twaleta ko ni gina dara mate mi pe
oya ta kim kada win radio we hoye che do che no tabir biar yo bongwana borde hangwen abira biro we ko we check
Nyaho tieki jame matima Nyaho tieki mitima choba Nyaho bero loyo Nyaho tieki gamo wo matimugi loyo enwo Nyaho buonyo Bero tieki joma gin maro en dok bene tieki yub mamege
bed mai tieki yub mamegi kuna tieki yat Lydia mapapat machal emergency piya joma biena tura daily mai munyo neno kineno unyo long term man pikar malach yat magi makonyo geo yaju nonge pharmacy unyo oriat mo kiken machok kiri ento nene no tam kibo doctor mafut pe ya chao tikere Lydia contraceptives nyago bero tieki yub mamegi kwena niki kelo botu kun aki DKT International
Nyaho tieki taje manen maleng mada Nyaho tieki doge manen mamunya mabe Nyaho bero tieki maleng mupongolo Nyaho bero tieki mire mapol
Bien nyaho tieki miri unyo jami machoba yat mele diapos pills mi intak twin ni petwer no yajo ma yin pe mero me wek yato ti mabe yere monyi kire chapa rio mukwa mapuri ruata ruara kila cho ento pe wero ka chap yar beru yareo ni diapos pills wele pete dog nonge oriat unyo pharmacy mo keken machok kiri bet kano tam kibo doctor mafut pia chao tikiat eni kwena ni kikelo botu kun aki DKT International
MBN Lablira chwalo ngej bolwag long ni manono amano tiuti mapima magi ora pima giameti lira city apima moho nga obeda nywala tin nyo dano moroni man DNA paternity testing pimu corona dirme PCR culture and sensitivity test man pimu kudakelu tuo kiri nyangu yatu pore changu pima ngalura imany kiri chuka lekomi apima memo kutia tuo chogo siko cell pimu cancer pimu moi komi kiri pimo chela polata nuong MBN Lab Police Road opimere Margarita Palace Hotel lira city nyugo chimi MBN nota bira bora biro nora bongwena chel nora bira chel nyo nota biru nora dek achela rio dek abongwena biru not nyo chwal waragame email info@mbnlab.com
Lok melira aleptom apach kole kwania otue dogolo pader Gregorio district bedo boss ya pire kide boda banja credit Gamdo PP Bajaj Boxer, unyo Bajaj Alloy, iwelme chilling laha boro kiken, unyo City 125, iwelme chilling laha bisiele nushu kiken. Money loan, ibut boda banja credit. Nongi office kia meti Ulul Road, Ilera City kan. Kadongpe, kubereke le line game office, ame obedo nota deha bongwena dek, aria ngwen, abira dek, nota ngwen. Jame mita kai mito binuka mo PP yene. ID ni ametia teach, unyo passport, unyo akadi card mebolo kwir. Kama nupe, ibindu kire ID ni me wang tichi, unyo meka teach, tin number kire jo aria me binu chungi. Chiktie, kire jamini endutia teach kire. Bedong bosi ya pire kire boda banja credit. Apu! Fertilizer me binu mi yinunga nyaki ya bo, ikum nyik tem dong tie. Gamdo fertilizer moti along ni Kara. Kara binu kede mo chamba mo pora pe nyikchem, PNNT kede boron, zinc, iron, seaweeds kede NPK. Fertilizer ni miyo nyikchem doa kome yot. Obo boma, tewe ke bedo kede kala mere kukume, dangen nyikchem beda lim, danga kur. Tewe ke ri kede ti kabisa. En fertilizer me atia ko beni utia lungni Kara ni ngom. Kade ikere kom nyikchem, umire kere Kara me nyikchem tido atura. Mewe katura mere, kede nyige beda duong. Beda ngono kiken, o tiedo kede fertilizer mora ma utia lungni Green Miracle Notes. Amando ilingwe hakwili. En fertilizer ni kado ikira eni porro. Kwe yu lira chengi kumchem, tedang mi yu chemi porro peju ye komoro. Dangente mi yu en chem beda kome yot. Bedi cheng duong. Amando yute kana maucho ye pichato jemi porro. Eka ite gamu fertilizer mea kubiniuko. Pingechu kena pol. Go chimbo dio buko la chemical industries. Inambe chim not a bor not. A dek not. A bor not a dek. Man number toll free.
Listen to 97.7 Unity FM. We inform, educate and entertain.
Unity FM is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. I'll pick a few calls and comment. Then we get back to General Mugisga Muntu to make his last comment before we get out of the studio. Pira bongwena biro tana biro Unity FM binu gamo chimogo chegu kede penya meguni binu penyo kaute yao koi.
Hello Bob. I'm kede kimi tiyo na ba.
Otia ba.
You don't know what I don't care. In fact, what the general has said is true. Honesty is the thing killing Ugandans. Honesty, there is no honesty at all. Maybe that's why corruption is persistent. Maybe in the line of corruption, we could possibly, perhaps we need Europeans again to come and do, because they are a little bit strict, I think, to handle those such positions. Otherwise, for us, the blacks, we have failed. And the other issue is about an advice to General that in the future, in case you go through, make sure you be very close to the people. Be very close. Don't wait until a time when it is nearing election, then you come and get associated with the people. You will get lost. People will not know you. So that it is not only you alone. It is including all these other people. Those councillors in NRM, what, and all these other people. Come back and see people. Identify yourself with the people. If you don't, you are going to get lost. Asante sana.
Thank you for that. Unity FM, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Don't hear the remote.
What's your bad?
Motadong Mugisga Muntu, the president.
Greetings to you, sir.
Apoyo manifesto melekiteno katukede. Tanyo kam pia bunya kobikom yogi tawiyo kobikom jero dakatala ba kutumu ko yogi tawiyo ko no tiene kado kobikom education kitano ko bukele. Tete tiene y government tiene mero puñero ko mero puñero te kameka ko kitero de yo que idea bero kawa ngoro ba do ko ye en ko timba ber kiteno no
apoyo
oba mi ogon
Unity FM, hello.
Hello. Mana bang tona tigo.
Tony boy.
Tu madito tia ber ento ino ngol pe ko ta be dong ti ye e ka gin ta ko gin ka no je cha ra yo gin buka ya buka gin dan na pe nyo dan ko me ko nan go bol ku la pe nyo to dan nyo program me ko gin ko cha ko ni ka puro ku ye cha ko cha ko be o ni to ko bol tu bol jo ni ko jo ra mo ngai
okay
aya ko pe ko di ugo ko da way forward there no can put you ana poya
hello
thank you so much Kim and the rest of the team that is in the studio.
And where are you calling from?
My name is Jacob Okelo. I'm calling from Mira here.
Yes, Jacob.
I would like to make a very good remark about Mugisga Muntu, whom I've known for a while. I the privilege to study in a school that was donated by his father, the late Mugisga Muntu, and I studied in Montiera High School for 6 years. One of the things that I've noticed about the family of Mugisga Muntu is a family that is very generous, very spiritual, very kind family that is really having a heart to serve the nation Uganda. Mugisga Muntu, with all due respect, I really appreciate the campaign trail that you're having and the manifesto that you have put in place. You are really the right candidate we need in this country. Kati dana me wando me elected me loyo loche Uganda and Mugisga Muntu. Yenana nyo family ki anyo kita me gino tu pekere me ni wame kwan ubera bedu twali ilo me Western Uganda i district amo luoni Ntunga. Mugisga Muntu na shimero mnonga kuitiza na shimero mnonga kurambu ijobu rango ni kuendeza je kani shoro haza witu akuyambe obe omwendelizi wa Ugandeji. Kandi nikimanya mbonye mushiyo okumera amazima kandi birukora ntibimanya. Ruhanga kwebembere kandi akuyambe okize byona byo kugamba. Nashimira mnonga kuri boy maketo.
Hello.
Good. Avoya.
Manga digo chimi.
I can't go Jim man down a lamb. So, I tell Nanamoroka now, and it began in a unity can know. Nanamati can accommodate. That's a music in the life. Music in
the mango.
Potigre line wa kwane number not abira chiel abongwen abongwen abiro nama nenu binu wona reception yori jabo kana menu miro konjo anna mane akwano ni nenu not abira chiel abongwen abiro abongwen abiro nyu joka ni 0771 977 977 go chim i reception wa ibinu bero ke kar men ngeyu ginolonga me kwa business announcement me radio unity kan news go chimi not abira ngwen not nora achela dek do jone no ename joame management ngioni romo konyi yore more ken wa hogam chima chiel ekoro wori weche ko du chen binu winyu kere gonya pen amejo penyo pat about presidential candidate of Alliance for National Transformation, General Mugisga Muntu Yera. Let's get down for a short break. We return.
Chawa ngwen mediko. Ichawa nido itikere government mujoma pol kere momo. Di sta chela bishela beach ash. Unyo itikere up me momo. Mewe kitimo chol kwa yuchene. Investing kere jomo kenarung polata.
Biru bulu amemi to watenge chamalo medi warga kwanu lil kunu yae chingu diri kukome kereka puonyera me ochoya tribal government yuta money Ebeneza University ya mucha kana lili nyeo ni treasure PTC uchano courses tushu amechunyi komo kwano ba business administration, education, ECD, accounting and finance, journalism and mass comm, agriculture manpu, medical records, tourism and hotel management, procurement and logistics. Komdong courses tushu tikuno pio puye midomedo ngeji early childhood kede primary education in Romdushu ina cha kubungu kwana gwa mechel nindo pichi do maparo ryo mohaman duchi wela yuto dojo irome certificate kede diploma amechulu ka laka dekeken eka bachelor's degree itachulu laka ngweni tunupiro wa picha gedeni achoi Ebeneza School of Health Sciences wea bara lira city utia peko ngechi wea uwebekera nyira mitubedo nasi kede cholmon manjero nursing midwifery kede pharmacy university binumi yi matrasa nyen menono kede kaburu medichem johotele duju toka mogidwe machel memo akasime riepiro wa bichel poyedang melimo Sigans Horizon Palace adiel kasubi hotelo yuba chili rome wilobo uchibiri gudu lama woro Kampala chitu chem kaya ituli reka sidrop pe bor ke design post medial primary pikabura ber mewele parking space ola lakpi NGOs kere punyira morka kana chokolo akakaro tutuko chima kura becha welki yora wokai Sigans Horizon Palace adiel kere jaya papa ameti teo lamjuba road kere chukata pingechukane go chimna manota bira boro nota bichela bongwen bira chela biro nyo nota bira bora rio abichela bongwen a bichela rio bongwen.
Oh, see what the Lord
have your way. Kai mi to beru daktalo yue. Nuong ponyri ni kane be chukulu chwenchot. Manu tuj ni yero ka Lira Institute of Health and Management Sciences ariko luone Lira Medical Laboratory Training School. O gere jame tuja mitepe ponyri be yuro kom ko betalek dege Lira City East atil Lira City Kanyem. Lira Institute of Health and Management Sciences. O yabo gina gamal lieta man pibinyo no kwano certificate kere diploma. Magu komi courses by laboratory meti diploma kere certificate duj me de pharmacy ada kai mo ya gamam. O twero game pi kwano certificate kere diploma mere tere choro. Pebe longo pinge mo chukule kara ping tekem. Wire kompacho kan yine reka Lira Institute of Health and Management Sciences atil Lira Kanyem. Pien courses gine duj ka game pi kwano certificate. Ejwa to kwan mwaka rio leng yine wele chebalo ni yokom. Diploma tetengo kwana guapi mwaka deku leng yindange wele chebalo wakom. Lem chukula mane kometo nungo ngecho chelem. Onyo e gochi mi nora bira bicha la bongwena bicha bongwena bicha chel. Kade nora bira bora de kangwena bora boro machela ngwena beach. Onyo de nora bira bicha beach adeka chela de nota deka boro. Apur, atena ya ebota pur waduere kopa kwa pure mwakanem. Dokola do input sobero gera ngejo ngobe kopa chato kore kere jaman pur longe. Onye ruwa cha weljura ta kon kore ducha ka komo kwe kore nyoga wiye jota kai pirmom. Hii chakori ya yotene choto lonye man kom DK831. O kena pecho da bero kore nyoga telungu tembo bazoka. Kore nyoga lunga vikadaka puru pero check de PM. DK778 kin kore nyoga long. Kore soya kere yat peto chot. Yengu kore duche kero kudi kore. Watering pumps kero porom gambut yatwango lum. Duche tiko ni long kere da yen wenyo doi poro. Jone charna ka fertilizer sa nyigo chela pige. Kore tungule kore nyanya mede watermelon utigo. Kore cabbages da gukone duch. Yenoga da tia bear totally kumulwenya libi pache bachware. Ololo yo bie nyenye. Merbudange yad wenyo mwe toilet. Yeraka kore kere jame pur duche boto dir me dokola grow inputs. Mampi tigiti roll da upi mena rapi yo wurika nicha me victory outreach yo. Onyo da jange ukena ti dokolo no dera pur. Manuti goropa ya telti yeno dok choke billboarding at runabout. Limda jange ukena dokotelo genwa grow inputs. Nuere kona kamnini yo kampale chingtu cham. Go chimpinge chokena miri niya nota bira bora chel. La chela deka de kabiche la chela de. Onyo nota bira bora biche la ria boro no ta chela bongo na chel.
Anabedo Jen Francis Sachilo, Ametia Chunga Chalo MP Daho, Meo Yam Districts, Imwaha Tutumia Rio, Ipiera Rio wea Bichel, Naha Tutumia Rio, Ipiera Dek wea Chel. Aye ni anyim Meo Yam, Ochungi Kompur, Kedo Pura Pupat, Ame wano tiekede, Dang Mandong Obedu Chawa Meme Yupur, Keliwa Adwagi Meye Lewa. Achochoki, Apoho Korinywagi, Amenya Kabub, Aramo Kilo Tutumia Par, wea Beach, Igombola Par wea Bichel, Dushu Ametia Yoyam, Menyo Tuchwaka Borte Dero, Kede Konyo Koru Purwa, Ametio Teacher Tech, Hikari Dushu. Achalo Achun Ametia Yihereme Wot, Yot Moko Chik me Uganda, Abino Teacher Tech, Menenuni Purwa me Yam, Obedu Kede Gum, Menwango Jami me Pura Pupat, Dang Abino Nenuni, Ugero Kagwako Jami me Apura, Kundang Obedu Kede Chuk Kakelo Lem, Oyae Jami Awano Puro. Kara chel, wano ramo nenuni, korhia chela chel, ame wano kao, okelo lim mabuk ipachiwa. Puro bedo guri me dongo yam, dang abino nenuni puro bedo yo ame atero wan dusho ilonyo. Boli Jen Francis Achilo Queer, PMP Adaho Meo Yam District, Iot Moko Chik, Mwaha Tutumia Rio, Piera Rio wea Bichel, na Hatutumia Rio, Piera Dek wea Chel. Achalo atela, ame nenu mere tie, me loko pur, me kelo lonyo, nen ikom luakere. Nyayo lonyo, iching utedero.
Bida pito nyuage rio, man ko ngoni, ana uro ko ibido ko ilos. Pur komi pura bere te kajana, welte porro kitiene, kunuda wote ido kede kudi danga duata.
Awinye pepe to nyuage, karde pito ngo, abolobo, nen baomin. Rainbow grow, jome lolo yubo chemicals, ijami pu. Romo wikinungo bagoba duong tutwaltin wangi nyuagi. Pien kado achalo bao dunyu kede kiro tie poro. Aperu tu pora dek akumputi pi doglobani. Iromo tikide Tamex. Pien ene do duche me yo nyuagi. Akarana kakuru do moga pore doni. Tamex binuke ngu duchi tu iporo. Pisizo na chela lura me puru kede ni. Eka kakudu chori, tikede chemical lumo porcelain. Meluenye komgi, eka te gwa kunyuagi ni. Pisizo no aloro. Guak chinte ekate puru nywaga bera boma barwi kakere Tamex kere porcelain amero nungi duki charo jami pura papat achike keri gochimi na manota pira boro boro not aria bongwen angwena dekadek.
Listen to 97.7 Unity FM. We inform, educate and entertain.
Unity FM is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome back from that short break. Let me take the last two callers before we can close. Hello? Hello? Eunice? Hello? Hello? Unity FM, hello? Unity FM, hello? Akagam Juario? Yes, you're bad.
Mata sawa la dina yambolta.
Niko beningo.
Aku bod president wati yeno tamer geti abe red call from you racha malu hoto ko en pomio tamer di yeningo.
Okay.
Then we are there ko kwan na ber. Then government school is at Magor law private school. Private school of Tiati Mabe Apollo usual touch along. Tiano ge private school.
Okay.
Me school Tiati Mabe me can in moral no ping bear bear. Kitano ko no dan Laura bear back.
That was and brief. I will infrastructural development. I think you talked about that, but his point was about the floods. The floods. Yeah, that is his concern. How will you tackle that, and then how will you improve on the quality education system of this country? I think those are two basic. How will you improve on the quality education of this country, the system? Yeah. No, you will not respond right now. I'm only trying to make it clear to you. Yeah, let me take the last caller before we get to General Mugisga Muntu. UTFM, hello? Hello? Agama Dudana Mea Giki, UTFM, hello? Yes. Abura Bear.
Mota King.
Kimogamo.
You alone Jack Bill, okay.
Yes, Jack Bill.
Oh, Bob. Penyeti bo ta ditueno. To komiti ya. Mi no ke ka ya. Ene ditimo. Ame president musi reporting, ane reporting. Then kana momot. Omi antia were troubling. Ya kampara binu kana Uganda loro. Obiro pi kuchame president musi mokelo. Nano lonyo utia poki PBN yoti obero pi nani president ni yo kino rom yo ya chan. Inero na ha material kana longye obero pi president Museveni. Inero yo tia chilo okay obero pi president Museveni. Jema por la papa na president Museveni. Now president Museveni romi inteme tali president Museveni be da bulldozer. Ane kau grading you kau kar yini yoko ya yoko ya mere ya kila mere ngulo ya kila eka mi ko kwando bulldozer do kere lo be ya kalo yoko nene yo ba eno produce yini do ko ngo so that let you think kit this is a bulldozer ke ko tigi yini yo ayo ne be kila re kwanyo ne ba yo wan ke lo be no de do ya yo kan ga atamni tamano mi tamni ko du mo ko ngo retiring doko ya ko 2031 ene do pa go e bilaru te laru yu e la no ku du du ka yeno ko por pe we ka di ko ti ta mi ken e we ku ndo tele odi ma je
apoyo
ba e por you go
poyo Eunice apang ka tia penyu kene amenu iramo mi summary ame put pe adwo line but presidential candidate General Mugisga Muntu, yes. Apart from the Magi, we have Andol. Yes. Yes. What are you, yes, Eunice? When you can just be yes.
What core values distinguish the Alliance for National Transformation from other political parties in Uganda.
Yeah, I have a concern from this person. First listen to him. Yes, Peter.
Oh, Matia Kopukite. Ne, Adito, I endo biro ko koketi.
Peter summarizing English in better point, may I do pe bal chawa yes.
It's okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm calling him Mr. President. I'm only asking him, should any of the candidates fail to
Hello?
Yes, I'm saying, should any of these candidates fail to get 51%? I'm asking him, which side will he associate or alliance with for them to win that election of 51%?
Okay.
Is he going to join Bobby Wine camp or His Excellency the President's camp?
Okay. No, it's okay. That is his question. I have taken note of that, but I'm not going to forward that to you.
So there's a question that came from Obong Tony. And came in local language. Most of the questions were in English. I think you got them. But this Bong Tony is said, why do you wait until the last minute to come to the people of Lango, that you're supposed to come a little bit early so that your voters should be able to know you? And he also said that you mentioned so many things in your manifesto, which is very good, but you did not give a way forward how you're going to handle them.
Bwana President, before you respond to those few comments and questions, let me get to some text here before you respond to a number of questions, and then maybe you can take them at once. Let me get to this one. I think I'm going to summarize them so that we don't waste a lot of time. This one is coming from. This one is saying, I congratulate Mugisga Muntu. If God gives you this victory, please use your Christian background to bring sanity into our government from top to bottom, as you always promised in your trails. Akoranoba Tagweng. I congratulate General Mugisga Muntu and thank him for considering Lao region as a starting point for his campaign. And President is honest, straight, kind, and forward thinker that Uganda really needs now. But on the contrary, a crook system that compromises our electoral body and won't give him a win even if he deserves. General, if God gives you, I think that is your message. Hello, good morning. I'm Masters in there. I'm Vincent Omedi, chairperson, UDEC Paris. Could you please help me with the president telephone number? I have to share with him something. Why can't you share that on so that we also benefit from you? Then the last person. Well done, moderators. I am thrilled with your level of articulation. Congratulations to General Mugisga Muntu. Your agenda is precise with all problem-solving strategies. A new regime has a lot to change and transform our nation. My question is, there is some fear and threat Uganda are facing hearing through. There is, this one is not clear. This one is not well edited. Then maybe the last one is all a congratulating you for coming to Lao. I think those are a few messages that I received through our online messages. I think you can take on those few messages and comment before we get out of the studio. Thank you so much. And
I'd like to thank all those who have appreciated what we are doing, and also those who asked questions. We actually, for the last 5 years, have been reaching out in rural areas. Our focus has always been at the sub-county level. The only unfortunate thing is that resources have been a problem. Unfortunately, in this country, the culture has changed. In the past, it is citizens who are funding parties. Now, citizens expect money from the parties. And this is a problem which has been brought about by the ruling party because it uses our money for those in opposition. Unless you have a member of parliament, you don't get any funding. So you have to mobilize privately within the citizenry. If we had got money, and the budget wasn't that big, we expected that in 3 years we would have covered every sub-county.
But honestly, some parties are benefiting from iPod.
Yeah, but we don't have a member of parliament yet.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Those
so not all parties. I mean,
yes,
maybe you talked about ANT, because
yes.
some parties are benefiting from iPod.
If we had the kind of money which we needed, like our budget actually is about 2.8 billion to run for 3 years, would have reached every sub-county in this country. Okay. We only were able to do about 40 districts out of 147. But we'll keep at it. We'll keep reaching out until we establish the part at all grassroots levels, parish, sub-county, and district.
Okay.
And therefore, unfortunately, we didn't reach this part, and that's why people didn't see us, and therefore they think maybe we weren't reaching out to people. We'll continue with that. Whether we go through or we don't go through, the party building exercise will continue until we have a fully well-established party at the grassroots level. And the issue of infrastructure. Roads are absolutely necessary because roads are the ones which enable you to fulfill the program of lifting people out of poverty. Even when you invest in agriculture, there's no way a peasant is going to succeed even when you put money in there unless they are good roads, because when they are very bad roads, it means it affects the prices of their crops. The price of crops will go down. And then it also affects trade, because those goods which are brought from elsewhere to be taken to trading centers and villages, the prices go high because of poor roads. And also it affects tourism. So roads definitely are an enabling factor. It is one of our focal points. And of course, one was talking about roads being washed away. Yeah, if you have poor jobs done, yes, because all roads need to have good drainage systems.
Okay.
And therefore, you have to have very good supervision. If you pay money and someone has taken a bribe from those companies, nobody is going to supervise. And the companies want to make shortcuts. I think that is where there is a big problem in that regard. And the people saying follow through. First, that's why we said we want to start with a team of men and women who care about the country, who care about communities, who are not corrupt. And then they ensure that there is zero tolerance corruption at all levels. And then invest in education, invest in health, invest in agriculture, invest in infrastructure. Infrastructure is an enabling factor for you to develop all round. Roads, energy generation, evacuation of power from where you generate it, and then distribution, and water provisions, and then transportation on roads, rail, as well as water. All those, once they are done, they become enabling factors, the other development processes. And then, of course, once you invest in smaller scale industries, mostly agro-processing, it becomes a market for those who are producing. And then also invest in manufacturing, where you first ensure that there are things which we are now importing, which can be done here locally. When you invest in all those areas, it means that the people who are in it can expand and therefore create jobs. Those are solutions which can only work when you have disciplined government. We keep hitting on that because all of us, 8 of us, have got manifestos. And you can hear manifestos and they sound good. But the catch is in, are you able to translate that manifesto into reality? And to do that, you must have people who are disciplined. Without discipline, nobody is going to tackle the problems of this country and manage. We are a broken country. Basically, General Museveni has broken people. You know, to reach a point where I keep telling people, and at times maybe some people misunderstand it, but that's the reality. You know, development, at the end of the day, in as far as we are concerned, it has two aspects. One, we all need money. We all need to have good food. We all need to have good houses, shelter. We need transportation. But at the end of the day, there's the question of dignity. A human being cannot really live wholly as we were created to live unless there's dignity. And dignity can only be got when you create an environment where people are able to work either on jobs or to invest wherever they invest and succeed, and therefore the outcomes of what they get either through labor or through enterprise, that they have got money to cater for their needs, that they are not begging anybody for money. Anybody who's put in a situation where they beg, it undermines a human being's dignity. And the country's development process, in as far as we are concerned, you must have people who live whole, a decent life, but also who are never put in a situation where they have to beg anybody. That the environment which is created enables them to make their own money. That's the only you can have a society of people who are proud. And a proud nation, the sky is the limit in terms of the development process. That's why I say a country like China, or I use examples of Singapore. People who are proud, their minds open up. They become more creative, they become more innovative. They can literally do anything under the sun. But when there are people who have to bow, to beg for what ordinarily belongs to them, you undermine their state of self-worth. You undermine their nature that is, of dignity, which every human being who is God created, that is inherent in every human being. This regime has undermined that. So to us, besides the building of the physical infrastructure and all that, we need to create a citizen who is whole in terms of well-educated, good health, eats well, but also has dignity. In as far as I'm concerned, that's at the core of the existence of any society that is stable, that where you find relationships. You just talked about relationships when we were off the air. Relationships which are meaningful. Relationships which are meaningful. That's the binding glue that brings communities together. Even when there are people who have different ethnic backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, because at the core of the understanding is that they are human beings, they have dignity, they can access equal opportunities. In a country like that, you will not find conflict. You will find a state of being which is healthy, where people easily relate, because there's fairness, there's justice, there are equal opportunities. Those always are the sources of problems, the sources of conflict in communities. That's where we are at. We are sitting on a time bomb. Unless there is a group of people who are disciplined, but also who understand that and build towards that, therefore we create hope, undermine the state of hopelessness that there is in this country. Where we're heading, we will get a larger problem than we are able to see now. So, at the end of the day, we have been asking where we met all the people, now we'll ask on radio, that I am a trustable person. I am an honest man. I have integrity. I have confidence. I have the skills to bring together men and women of the same thinking from all ethnic groups, from all religious groups, because they are there to become the core of building a new chapter. A development process that will lift all Ugandans in whatever endeavor they are in and access equal opportunities and live a dignified life as a people, as a country. I have the capabilities to manage the economy, manage the politics, and manage the security of the country. So I am asking the people of Lango sub-region, understand this radio covers about 10 districts, to trust me with your vote. And then we can start a new chapter.
But Bona President, presidential candidate, there's something that caught my attention when Kim was handling official assignment.
Yes.
There's someone who talked about grassroots mobilization, and when you were asked, you said you do not have a member of parliament. That's why you cannot benefit from iPod now.
Yes.
This is your second time running for president.
Yes.
But what happened that up to now, Aunt is not able to have a single member of parliament? How will you run this country without?
2021 was.
I understand.
Was the first.
I understand.
And I tell you, we were specifically targeted. I know that for sure. I never talk about it many times. I know at the presidential level, the competition has been General Museveni and Honorable Bobby Wine. At the parliamentary level, I know would have gained about 15 seats. Were specifically targeted. The regime has got its own thinking. It is scared by different things. For some parties, they are scared by the crowds they pull. For us, they are scared about accessing resources. They know that the moment you get a chance of getting resources, we will wipe them out. They know that. They know the discipline we have. They know how good we are at strategy. And we have always wanted to cut them by the roots, as I always tell people. There's no tree which can stand unless it has roots.
So what exactly happened this year? This one, how many MPs are you fronting in?
We have fielded about 30 so far.
Okay.
I hope they won't target us as they did last time. Specifically, like Kasian Wadri in Western was cheated in broad daylight. The army was involved. Honorable Karhanga in Tungamo. Honorable Ali Salaso in Serere. We had a lady called Gregorio in Madiokoro. That one was deregistered. As we speak now, they are trying to deregister actually some of our candidates who are promising. Right now in Isinjiro, one of them has been summoned to the Electoral Commission for Friday, saying that two of his nominators, that they fought their signatures. Crap. Absolute crap. So they are terrified by different parties which use different methods. They are terrified about those whom they see bring crowds. They are terrified about our message. The way we operate. I know that for sure. For me, I know that. Nevertheless, we're not people who get derailed. Because one thing, we know that we have the right message. Two, we are resilient. Three, we keep organizing whatever the regime may want to do, because we know there's always a turning point, and we'll get that turning point. And I believe that by God's grace, there is a point when we take power.
Okay. Thank you so much. Before we get down to a short break, let me welcome, I don't know his name. JJ, maybe in just one minute, because we are almost getting out of here because our time is up.
Yeah, I'm at Matek Management married to Unity TV. I'm at Kopoj John Melau, Kakana one of the Bay, Toke, Leptong, Lera District, Kwania, Patch, Tini and Duando Tieko, two of our Melau. Chaki Kole, to Dokolo, Totieka Malata. Dog by a name, Kakana, one of Kobani, Jo. Korwa wana tia binapta. Amita doko poch matek botu pigamawa kere Roma malo kere yomi.
Opoya.
Dogena tie wana pe kopapol. Mitopo ka management me unity yen shawa da dope. Mitne kadigi maya doko duogo. Mire doko duogo radio ni.
Opoya.
Oba me dogum.
Awe. Poya tek wa huwe chik kado tanan nujamo kerane.
Yini mirchi mabera kai wilo liye kome yorata betu ya taka kanyukop achimi peto atata o chati kukome wegu regional guago nyingi bor o bero dora konwan ati kung lera city wane iyo to pimere centenary banka chon Bore Avenue tuporu cheng inget vision fund chim kiu pongot kane becha wange puarata ichichi machima manetani akone wilo chim ngeti kokome kadi chicha pal kwene teke mitu chim nyanga wilo rukwe gake chope yodora fonwan etenungu chim Techno, Infinix, itel, Samsung, Aburana Porpor, chargers, screen guards, jackets, headsets, sensors, batteries, memory cards, kedi jamba pa pate kom chim. Ochedan kedi agent banking, pe joame to kwanyu kedi chwalu tene bankoro keken, nyo cholo kedi welo wen. Nyo ime to welo ginoro keken jumia, doanye yodora phone one, uteke tiwada meri chod.